Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from today. And welcome to everyone attending and participating in our Energy and Sustainability panel as part of the American-Turkish Conference, hosted by the US-Turkey Business Council. My thanks and appreciation go to the Council for its generous invitation to serve as moderator today and be able to speak with and learn from this panel of experts. I can't think of a better team and a better time to discuss the future of US-Turkish collaboration in energy and sustainability. As everyone here knows, the United States and Turkey have a long and close relationship. The ties that bind us are strong. It is my honor to lead a part of our federal government, the U.S. Trade and Development Agency, that has supported this relationship for decades. For those of you not as familiar with USTDA, our agency has a unique mandate and dual mission. We support the export of U.S. goods and services to infrastructure projects in high-growth emerging markets like Turkey. We achieve our mission primarily through grant-based support for technical assistance and feasibility studies that provide our overseas partners with the comprehensive analysis to move infrastructure projects from concept to financing to implementation. And we also support partnership building activities between American companies and Turkish project sponsors. USTDA is also unique among federal agencies in this way. We are mandated by our Congress to promote U.S. industry participation in infrastructure projects at the critical early stages when design choices and technology options are being determined and defined. Our large portfolio in Turkey reflects our country's shared infrastructure priorities and mutual interests. We have already supported more than 100 activities in Turkey, including activities in energy, ICT, transportation, and healthcare. And we have this robust and dynamic portfolio in Turkey because American companies see this thriving market and know it is an environment of opportunity. Our panelists today certainly fall into the category of leaders who know this market and realize its potential. Over the next 45 minutes, we will discuss the best ways to energize the U.S.-Turkey bilateral commercial relationship, especially through collaboration in energy, sustainability, smart solutions, and energy-fueled sectors like petrochemicals. We have an excellent cross-section of the U.S.-Turkey commercial relationship here with us on our panel today. I'll begin with questions for our panelists and then open it up for questions from the audience. Let's start with our first panelist, Dr. Manar Al-Moneef, President and CEO of the Middle East, North Africa, and Turkey with GE Renewable Energy. Dr. Al-Moneef, I'm looking forward to hearing about GE's plans in Turkey's renewable energy sector. One of USTDA's recent successes in Turkey is with Zorlu Energy, an independent power producer. I believe their CEO, Sinan Ak, has joined us at the conference today. We funded a feasibility study for them on a 45 megawatt geothermal power plant that now provides clean energy for nearly 170,000 homes. So Dr. Al-Moneef, how does GE align with Turkey's growth plans in the field of renewable energy?
Thank you very much, Todd, and thank you very much for the organizing committee. I'm really privileged and honored to be with you today. I was hoping to be with you in person, but due to COVID, I think so we're having the best forum over here. The time is just right to speak about renewable energy. The whole globe now is focusing on renewable energy, not only Turkey. You can see that by 2040, we expect at least some continents like Europe to reach 43% of its energy by renewable, and 52% in the US is going to be renewable. So it's really the right time to speak about it. Turkey is no different. Turkey have set very ambitious targets to speak about renewable. They've said they were the first movers in the entire region, the MENAT region, which is the Middle East, North Africa, and Turkey, to speak about renewable. They've put the right mechanism of feed-in tariff. They have the right system. They have one of the best wind site and the best solar site across the region over here. Everyone now is speaking about renewable and how can we actually focus on having a base load coming from renewable. What are the right policies? What are the right procedure? And I think so Turkey did not only set the right policies and procedure, but they went the extra mile by actually setting right localization strategies to ensure that there will be an impact on the economy, there will be job creation, and there will be local content that can support the development of a robust industry when you're speaking about renewable. Turkey is one of the prime markets that we're looking at GE Renewable. We have developed strong capabilities. We have over 5,900 employees in Turkey for GE across the entire spectrum, from renewable, from healthcare, from aviation. And renewable specifically, we're really looking at Turkey as one of our focus area, not only to produce energy, but also to export, using the local capability that they have in the country, the components, the knowledge that they have to actually use it as one of our prime manufacturing hubs. We've done a lot of work in Turkey. I'm happy that this year we've actually have a lot of projects under execution with over 1.2 gigawatt of execution. This is the timeline that everyone is focusing on to developing these energy projects and taking them to the next step. I think so what's important nowadays is, as Turkey is moving in the right steps by putting the right localization strategy, the right energy targets, moving in the execution, so the say to do ratio is right. I think so the next steps now is to make sure there is clarity on what's coming in the future. So what is the plan for the next 5 years as well as 10 years? Where does the government would like to go in terms of target for both localization, taxation, incentives, to allow companies such as GE to move within the same speed that the government is moving, and to make sure we have capabilities that will help the development of this industry into a robust industry.
Thank you very much. I recognize the truth in what you're saying. Over the last several years, our portfolio in energy at USTDA has grown exponentially in terms of what we're doing in renewables. We're seeing it not only in Turkey, but in countries all over the globe. So thank you for that. Moving to our second panelist, İhsan Necipoğlu, Government Markets Director with DowAksa. İhsan, I understand that DowAksa is looking closely at Turkey's renewables sector. This is a priority for us at USTDA as well, as I just mentioned. In the area of wind energy in particular, how is your company promoting collaboration, trade, and investment between Turkey and the United States?
Well, thank you. First of all, it's nice to speak in this kind of platform. And I would like to thank the organizers actually for working under very challenging situations. And I would like to answer this question within the context of a carbon fiber manufacturer for the wind industry and composites manufacturer for the wind industry. So apart from its participation in defense and automotive industries, DowAksa manufactures and markets carbon fiber and carbon fiber-based composites, including finished parts such as spark caps for wind blades and used in wind turbines. And it was established in 2012. As the wind industry has been the most commercial industry that we serve. So as the wind industry from the start became more competitive, the real challenge obviously became and always was to produce the lowest cost of electricity with the most productive turbines. And as a result, we realized that the blade sizes started to increase. And as blade sizes started to increase, there was some issues with the weight. And this was the time that we realized that there was a need for a stiff, lightweight product for the design of these blades to increase productivity. So wind blades grow in power, more than doubling between 2005 and 2015, from 4 megawatts to 9 megawatts, and the blade sizes started to increase at the same time. At this point, we actually showed that we could actually use the partnership. On one hand, Aksa being the world's largest and the most competitive materials manufacturer, acrylic fiber manufacturer, which is the precursor for carbon fiber, and build a know-how using Dow's technology, downstream material science, to actually present the industry with a solution, with a spark cap, which increased productivity. And this is how we carved out a competitive position for ourselves, but also for Turkey, because we're the only carbon fiber producer in a broad vicinity, starting with Spain to India. And we're located in Turkey. So we have utilized Turkey's competitive strengths, competitive employment costs, low operational costs, and innovative and productive workforce with the European market access and project-based incentive system, which was mentioned anyway, with significant government support, and built a manufacturing position as an American-Turkish JV. Wind industry is expected to grow as the blades will grow longer, and the competition to supply the most productive turbine intensifies further. New mega blades for offshore are expected to consume 4 to 5 tons of carbon fiber for each. So we can help this industry become more competitive from Turkey and make Turkey become the preferred regional manufacturing hub. We can be a good example and a worthy supplier for international OEMs, primarily in Turkey, to come and invest. And we can invest and help attract investments around us to Turkey in the wind industry. We can also help build a vertical industry integration around wind, supplying Turkey's domestic market, and maximize Turkey's export capabilities through our competitive and innovative solutions. So since the start, DowAksa has been growing. And even at this time, we are growing with the wind industry and with the carbon to be consumed more and more within the blades. We are ready to invest and grow in Turkey and actually help other OEMs coming to Turkey for additional supply for flawless exports throughout this wide geography, starting from Spain to India. Thank you.
Thank you, İhsan. It's really important for innovative products to hit the market like yours to be able to help these new industries grow and stay competitive. So thank you for that. Now turning to our third panelist, Aksel, Senior Vice President and Turkey General Manager with PepsiCo. I know PepsiCo has done quite a bit of work on sustainable manufacturing processes and has contributed to the development of smart cities plans across the region. This is a mission we share at USTDA. We launched a US-Turkey Next Generation Cities initiative earlier this year, including smart cities projects in Ankara and Gaziantep. And this week, we announced the expansion of this initiative to include Istanbul, where we will be supporting a project to optimize traffic and transportation systems. PepsiCo defines its broader sustainability vision as helping to develop a sustainable food system globally. What are the components of a sustainable food system? And can you give some examples from PepsiCo Turkey on how you apply this in your operations?
Of course. Good morning. It's an honor to be here today and to be in the company of global leaders and to talk about sustainability at a time when we can appreciate its importance more than ever. At PepsiCo, we connect people through some of the world's greatest brands and most loved food and beverages. And our products are enjoyed more than 1 billion times a day in more than 200 countries and territories around the world. And we strive to use our global scale for good and to create products in a way that benefits our consumers, our suppliers, our communities, and our planet. We believe we can achieve this by developing, as you said, a sustainable food system where we work to change how the world produces, distributes, consumes, and disposes of food and beverages to tackle the common challenges that we face. And we think about sustainability under 3 pillars: grow, make, and inspire. The grow terminology relates to how we grow our crops. Agriculture is indeed central to our supply chain, and our products depend on a safe and high quality supply of agricultural raw materials, as you can imagine. But agriculture is also critical from a sustainability point of view. It accounts approximately 70% of freshwater consumption worldwide and 25% of carbon emissions. At the same time, in order to meet the needs of a growing population, the demand for agricultural products is expected to grow by as much as 50% over the next 30 years. And just like globally, we are a big agricultural player in Turkey. We source our potatoes and corn from farms all over the country. And through contract farming, we work with more than 1,000 farmers in 20 cities, and we supply more than 60% of Turkey's chip stock potatoes. And through our sustainable farming program, we help our farmers to use resources more efficiently, restore the earth, increase their yields, and improve their livelihoods. Specifically in Turkey, through our dedicated work over the past decade, we reduced both the water consumed and the carbon emitted to produce 1 unit of potato by 50%. And with our Agro Academy, our team of experts visit all the farms we work with to help them improve the way they farm. Now, our second heading, Make, is about how we make our products. And our goal is to produce in a way that is water positive, climate neutral, and promotes a circular economy. Through our Sustainable from Start approach, we've achieved indeed great results. In Turkey, our operational water use efficiency has increased by around 20%. We've also been investing heavily in renewable energy in our operations, as well as fleet optimizations in logistics and less carbon intense ways of producing our packaging, such as lightweighting projects and using more recycled PET, all to lower our carbon footprint in our entire supply chain. Our last heading, Inspire, is about inspiring through purpose-led brands and investing to build prosperous and equitable communities. We work with all our partners to advance respect for human rights, build diverse and inclusive workplaces, and invest to promote shared prosperity in our local communities. We've been in Turkey strongly investing in our local community to drive opportunity equality in education. One project we're very proud of, since 2003, we have reached more than 250,000 children in southeastern Turkey through our 13 Cheetos development centers. And since 2009, we've provided scholarships to more than 150 young girls that attended our development centers through the donations of our volunteer employees to support them continuing their education. And we continue to work with PepsiCo Foundation to explore additional opportunities to widen our reach in Turkey with their support. Thank you.
Thank you, Ija, and thank you not only to you, but to PepsiCo for all that they're doing on the sustainability as well as the philanthropic front. It's much appreciated by many, as I know. I know that we've got one panelist who's running short on time. Dr. Moneef, are you able to stay for one final question if I ask it to you now?
Absolutely, yes.
Great. We'll stay on the subject of sustainability for now. We know that GE Renewable Energy has a target on carbon neutrality. Can you tell us about GE's sustainability efforts?
Absolutely. So, you know, the topic of carbon neutrality and sustainability is very close and dear to our hearts. So in 2019, exactly a year ago, 24th of September, exactly like today, GE have announced that we will be actually going to be 100% carbon neutral in a way in which that we will be utilizing renewable energy in all of our plants and all of our operation. In addition, we will be balancing the remaining emission through purchase of carbon offset programs, and we're doing that. We've actually launched this program. We're making progress. We have partners selected with us to work with us across the world. We've created in parallel a platform in which we will be working with the Green Accelerator platform in Europe, where we selected certain countries. These platforms allow renewable energy company and private PPA off-takers to actually do a matchmaking. So they'll be able to consume that energy over here. And whatever remains that we will not be able to channel through renewable energy sustainability, we will be paying and actually to offset those carbon offset program that we're doing. This is something that's not easy, specifically in today's world, and specifically with COVID and what's going on have actually impacted not only GE, but everyone else. But we're laser focused on achieving that target. And I think so if we are a leading company in renewable energy, we need to walk the walk and talk the talk to start with. So if we're not going to be holding ourselves accountable to drive 100% carbon neutral, it's difficult to actually do it everywhere else. It's an area that will help us to focus on efficiency. It's an area that will help us to eliminate waste and focus on a better life for everyone. And I think so we're very passionate about this. We're really focused on it. And we're trying to implement this program now in Turkey, where we're looking now with the government new regulation of allowing and encouraging private PPAs. How can we create this platform where we can bring renewable energy with the private PPA, do this match make, so you can increase the penetration of renewable energy penetration, as well as reducing the carbon footprint.
Thank you. Well, I commend you and GE for the stance that you've taken. That is an incredible goal to try to achieve carbon neutrality in that time frame. So thank you for everything you're doing as well. Let me now finally turn to our final panelist, Anatol Feygin, Executive Vice President and Chief Commercial Officer with Cheniere. Anatol, the Turkish LNG market is important for U.S. exporters. As you know, 2 years ago, USTDA funded a reverse trade mission to the United States for Turkish LNG sector leaders. They met with Cheniere and other U.S. leaders in the sector, and the visit really produced results. It led to improvements in Turkey's gas regulations and policy development, which streamlined access to the Turkish market for U.S. LNG exporters. However, we are living in a different time now due to the pandemic. So Anatol, how has the COVID demand shock impacted the global LNG market, and how has Cheniere and U.S. LNG adapted to the events of 2020, and how does that impact Turkey?
Thank you, Todd, and thanks to the USTDA for everything that you do for us and to facilitate trades just like you mentioned. And thank you to the U.S. and Turkey Chamber for hosting this event. It's my pleasure to represent Cheniere, as Todd said, as our Chief Commercial Officer. This has been, of course, a challenging year, but also a year in which both the U.S. LNG market, the global LNG market, and Turkey's role in energy markets has really highlighted what each brings to the table. Unlike some of the other markets for energy, I'm thinking of things like jet fuel and other transportation fuels that had just an incredibly profound impact from the spread of COVID and the shutdowns that followed. The gas market has remained relatively resilient, and the LNG market even more so. Globally, we still expect 2020 to be a year of growth for the LNG market. Now, to put things in perspective, the LNG market is just under 15% of the overall gas market, and as Turkey knows, as well as any player perhaps in the global energy markets, it is a balancing act between various fuel sources. When Cheniere came on the scene and introduced the U.S. LNG business and the U.S. LNG business model, it had a profound change on how the LNG markets behave overall. Our model, by definition, has destination flexibility, separates the commodity from the liquefaction process, and those various tools have allowed the markets to rebalance. Turkey, through its foresight and its investment in infrastructure and diversification, championed by His Excellency Bayraktar and others, has availed itself of this opportunity set and highlighted what the two countries can really do together. We have had the honor of supplying about 3/4 of the U.S. LNG that has found its way to Turkey. Turkey is an incredibly important market for us. And just to put that in perspective, Turkey year to date has imported more than double the LNG from the US that it imported in all of 2019. And what has enabled Turkey to do that is precisely the foresight and the investment in infrastructure and flexibility that it has been making over the last few years. So as we look forward, the partnership with renewables that we've spoken about on this panel is something that will continue to drive the role of gas and the role of LNG. And for us at Cheniere, we think that the business model that we're bringing to the table and the collaboration that we have had, helped by USTDA and other policy decisions, will continue to enable us to support Turkey's growth ambitions and Turkey's growth as an energy hub in the region. So we're very proud of that and look forward to decades of collaboration and mutual growth.
Thank you, Anatol. I know I'm glad to hear you say what you said about the global LNG market through the pandemic. As you know, we started an LNG initiative in November of 2017 at USTDA. It's a global gas exports initiative where Cheniere is a partner with us on that. And we have, in our agency, continued to see incredibly high demand for LNG and the types of work that we do in the LNG sector. So good to hear that good things are continuing for you at Cheniere. Let me now turn back to İhsan. Earlier, you spoke about what DowAksa is doing to promote bilateral cooperation in the wind sector. More broadly, how should the United States and Turkey collaborate in this area?
Well, wind energy is actually a global market with a global supply chain where international suppliers choose to manufacture at the most attractive location, preferably combining a strong domestic demand with low-cost competitive labor, low operational costs, and continuous access to supply a wide variety of exports. In this respect, when we entered the wind and looked at the wind market, most of the global supply chains were in Asia Pacific and in China, because there was quite a lot of installed capacity. There is a plan to install more capacity, and it was extremely attractive for the global supply chains to be located there. But as time went by, everybody realized that the Asia Pacific supply chain was good for Asia Pacific and China because it was absorbing all the demand. So with also the COVID-19 situation contributing to that effect, the global supply chains and the global OEMs wanted to have alternatives in case there would be disruption on supply. And basically, so the key opportunity as a result in front of Turkey and the US in collaboration is to build on this growing domestic demand in wind energy in Turkey, because you need a certain amount of domestic demand and aggressive goals. Its competitive employment, its operational cost, and its favorable location towards a vastly growing EU market, and create a competitive alternative to China. Of course, it's not an all one-to-one alternative to China. It's a regional hub to make Turkey a regional hub for the wind industry, a competitive regional hub. And basically, Turkey can actually do quite a lot. Turkey can attract the global wind OEM and the global wind industry, and including US suppliers for wind turbines, wind blades, and the key equipment manufacturers for wind, as it has the potential to fulfill most of the key needs. US and Turkey can combine cost competitiveness with R&D capabilities, downstream automation, and use Turkey's advantaged position to create a viable wind manufacturing hub to serve a wide variety of regional markets, including a hugely expanding European market for wind. So basically, again, in the form of DowAksa, we have shown this kind of collaboration at work, combining exactly what it takes. Turkey's competitive criteria, basically low employment cost and operational cost, with US coming in and the innovative capabilities, the technology to carve out a position together, where the US companies can also invest to supply the wind industry in Turkey for local demand as well as for exports in a broad industry, and make sure that Turkey and US companies create other good examples like what we've done at DowAksa.
Thank you. You know, it's obviously not just in the wind sector, but I think we're seeing OEMs globally starting to make those types of business decisions and recognizing the necessity for diversifying their supply chains. So I agree 100% with what you're saying, and look forward to seeing how we can get those supply chains developed within Turkey as well. Ija, let me turn back to you now. Many companies around the world have been working to decrease their carbon footprint, just as Dr. Mansour said. And they're doing that to support global commitments. What is PepsiCo doing to combat climate change?
Yeah, climate change is one of the most pressing issues facing the food system indeed. And the food system is currently responsible for around 30% of the greenhouse gas emissions. And we believe it can be more carbon efficient and more resilient. As mentioned, we are committed to doing our part by reducing greenhouse gas emissions across our value chain. In 2015, we announced a goal to achieve a 20% reduction in absolute greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. But as the impact of climate change becomes ever more apparent, we've stepped up to be even more ambitious. In March this year, we signed the UN's Business Ambition for 1.5 degrees Celsius pledge and committed to set science-based targets aimed at limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels, while also developing a long-term strategy for achieving net zero emissions by 2050. And just this past Monday, we announced a new target that will greatly contribute to our new climate goal. We said we will source 100% renewable electricity across all of our company-owned and controlled operations by 2030, and across our entire franchise and third-party operations by 2040. So this has the potential to reduce approximately 2.5 million metric tons of carbon emissions by 2040. And this is roughly the equivalent of taking more than 500,000 cars off the road for a full year. In Turkey, we've also been steadily progressing towards our 100% renewable energy goal. And we think we will reach it by 2022. What we do, a couple of examples, through anaerobic digesters in our snack plants, which use potato waste and other organic materials, we produce biogas on site. At the same time, through new solar panel investments, now our snack plants are actually generating or using 50 to 75% of our energy consumption from these renewable sources. What we also do is we take the leftovers from our anaerobic digesters and we don't waste them. We add some minerals and turn these leftovers into what we call an organo-mineral fertilizer. And we use this fertilizer in our potato farms. We branded this fertilizer. We call it Naturalis, and this is the only non-food and beverage PepsiCo trademarked product in the world. And it has 40% less chemicals than conventional fertilizers, and therefore also reduces process-related greenhouse gas emissions by around another 11%. So let me say, these projects were made possible, of course, by working closely and cooperating with various ministries, universities, research institutions, suppliers, and NGOs. And we fully understand, we know what cooperation can yield. Just recently, I had the chance to take part in Sustainable Brands Turkey Conference as a speaker at the UN Global Compact Turkey panel. And at that panel, I said that the world definitely needs more cooperation than ever. And we know we can achieve a lot by building platforms, utilizing synergies, and looking for shared solutions for shared challenges. So it means a lot that such distinguished leaders from around the world gathered despite the challenges posed by COVID-19 and continue to work together for a more sustainable future. So thank you.
Thank you, Ija, and thank you again to PepsiCo for all that they're doing. It's really incredible. Let me ask one final question of our panelists before I open it up for questions from the audience. Anatol, going back to you, what role can long-term U.S. LNG play in Turkey, particularly given the potential offshore gas finds and resources in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea? And how could U.S. LNG help Turkey achieve its regional energy hub ambitions?
Thanks, Todd. To put things into a little bit of perspective, the U.S. exports of LNG began in large scale in February of 2016. So we have yet to reach our 5th anniversary. And at this point, the U.S. market is neck and neck with Qatar and Australia for the top 3. And over the next couple of years, given everything that has been put in place by Cheniere and other U.S. companies, we will be the largest exporting market. That said, it is a global gas market, and there are ample regions with sizable resources, Eastern Med clearly being one of them. And this recent find by Turkey clearly appears to be world-class. As the great economist Milton Friedman wrote, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Subsequent to that, he followed that up and said, well, there is a free lunch, and it's diversification. And that is something that, again, His Excellency, Deputy Energy Minister Bayraktar and others in Turkey understand full well. Turkey has become a very substantial energy hub. It has invested heavily. I believe that the statistics are that it can receive half of its natural gas demand via LNG imports. Clearly, and I think it's on track, again, having taken advantage of the current pricing environment, it's on track to receive about 1/3 of its LNG, of its gas, via LNG imports. So Turkey is investing in regional resources, in domestic resources, in pipeline and LNG infrastructure. Over the next couple of years, some of the long-term contracts that Turkey has executed for LNG supply will expire, and that presents an additional opportunity for the two countries to work together and work towards this goal of $100 billion of bilateral trade. And we think that the U.S. LNG model and the flexibility and the economic benefits that it brings to the table should continue to have a substantial seat at that table. So it's a comprehensive solution. Of course, it will include renewables. It'll include additional investment in energy infrastructure, and will include a broad array of partnerships. And we hope to continue to leverage the great relationship we have with BOTAŞ and others in country, and continue to be a key supplier and a key supporter of those trade ambitions and regional energy hub ambitions. So we think this is, we're in the early days of writing these chapters. And again, we have decades of work to do together, even with all of the great resources that are available in proximity to Turkey.
Thank you for that. Let's now just turn to the chat to see if we have any questions coming in from the audience for all of you. We'll give it just a bit to see if we have anything roll in, and if not, I will ask one final question of the panel. All right, looks like we've got one question posted on the Q&A. Could you comment on how U.S. and Turkish governments and the private sector can work together vis-a-vis the European Green Deal that is expected to impact companies operating in Turkey? And I will open that up to anyone who would like to respond.
Well, perhaps I'll start. To take a little bit of a step back, I think one of the great successes on the environmental front has been in the U.S. as we have over the last decade or so reduced carbon dioxide emissions by an order of magnitude billion tons per annum from the record highs in the 2007-2008 period. That has been done through the advent of much more economic development of the natural gas resources. And again, over the last few years, as US LNG has started to make its way into the global market, it has led to a number of environmental successes in those regions. That is not only by virtue of the US molecules getting into the market, but that is complemented by the competitiveness of the gas market relative to other more polluting fuels. And that is something that we are highly confident in. We at Cheniere just published our initial ESG report earlier this year. We're a relatively new company, so we have a lot of catching up to do to the Pepsis and Dows of this world, and GEs, of course. But we firmly believe that gas has a seat at that table, and we will be complementing the push in renewables to reach the green ambitions of not just Europe, but the rest of the world.
Thank you, Anatol. İhsan, Ija, any comment on this question?
Well, what I can say from a PepsiCo perspective, I think we're very interested in working together with and leveraging both governments and working with other agriculture-heavy companies to bring to Turkey more regenerative farming practices to continue to save Turkish soil and actually sequester more carbon into the earth rather than emitting greenhouse gas emissions. So we have a lot of passion to further build in that area, and that's what I look forward to working on with our partners.
And on my side, yeah. And on my side, on the green agenda, I think, needless to say, we would be happy to collaborate with both governments to really make the goals even more aggressive on the green front, so that we can, work with more wind energy and introduce our innovative solutions as to make the OEMs even more competitive.
Thank you very much, İhsan. Well, it looks like we don't have any more questions in the queue. So we've got about 1 minute left, so I'll just go ahead and wrap up. Thank you so much again to the U.S.-Turkey Business Council for putting this conference together, for putting this panel together, and for inviting myself and the rest of the panelists to participate today. And thank you to our panelists, Dr. Manar Moneef with GE, İhsan with DowAksa, Ija with PepsiCo, and finally Anatol with Cheniere. Much appreciate your time and your participation and your insight and comments to the questions that were posed today. Thank you very much.